Go. Good morning. Okay, good morning ladies and gents, welcome back to a brand new video. Excuse me. First thing I do in the morning is always weigh myself before I've eaten or drank anything. I then go and do a check-in outside, so I film myself for about 2 minutes. I do a bit of grounding, so I stand outside just in my boxes for a bit. I then make myself a coffee, I sit in this position and I chill out for a bit. So today's video is going to be slightly different. It's going to be a full day of eating on a rest day, so today is my rest day. It's coming. It's coming with a slight twist. So today I'm actually going to talk through all of the foods that you should avoid whilst dieting, and what I'm going to do is every meal that I have, I'm going to have a 1 plate, and every meal that you guys shouldn't have. So say for breakfast I'm going to have my usual, and then I'm going to make an alternative which is going to talk through all the foods that you should avoid. Okay, so seeing as we have just over 2 weeks left of the diet, calories are pretty low. So today we are working with 1,875 calories, 200 grams of protein, 100 grams of carb, and 75 grams of fat. So I'm going to compare that full day of eating with a complete and utter cheat day. So sit back, relax, enjoy the video. So this morning's weigh-in was actually a brand new low weigh-in. So the lowest weigh-in of this whole entire diet, which I'm very happy about. I'm feeling very lean. This is probably the leanest I've ever been. We've definitely smashed last year's physique completely out of the water. I'm feeling obviously very kind of low on energy, a little bit drained, but it is what it is. Sat here with my coffee. What I usually do is sit here with my coffee for probably a good half an hour or so. And then what I'm going to try and do today is fast probably up till about 11 o'clock, half 11. So by fasting up till about 11, half 11, it means that I can kind of push my meals back a little bit further, so I can kind of spend the rest of the day feeling a little bit more full, spending my evening feeling a little bit more full, meaning that I can go to sleep kind of on a full stomach, because it's the worst thing trying to sleep when you're feeling hungry. So coffee is a fantastic appetite suppressant. So I'd usually have a coffee every single morning, and that'd usually probably last me an hour or two. It really does push my meals back further, which is fantastic. So if you are in low calories, definitely get yourself a coffee. It does wonders. So meal number 1 of the day for me is going to be 1 thin bagel. So why I opt for thin bagels is that it's actually got half the carbs in as a normal bagel. And then we're going to be having 3 whole eggs. And the meal that you guys are going to have, or the meal that you guys should avoid, is going to be a full, and when I say a full, I mean a full English breakfast. Let's do it. Okay, so there we go, breakfast is served. My breakfast is 1 thin bagel with 4 whole eggs. We've got 50 grams of blueberries and 1 10-calorie jelly, so cranberry and raspberry flavoured, unreal. To my left we have David's breakfast, so yes, I'm not throwing this away, David's going to be eating this. So we've got the pineapple juice, which very, very high in sugar. Yes, fruit is good to a certain extent. If you have too much of it, it can be very, very high sugar, and this is literally like 20 grams of carbs in here. So for me, that would equate to a thin bagel. So in terms of dieting, a thin bagel is going to fill me up more than a glass of pineapple juice. So in here we have 3 sausages, which are very, very high in saturated fat. So not ideal really for me. We've got some beans in here which aren't too bad, but once again very, very high in calories. we've got 2 sourdough breads with butter on there, and then 2 whole eggs. So eggs are very, very good to get your fatty acids in, your essential fatty acids. However, in this whole meal, we have 1,242 calories, 76 grams of carbs, 77 grams of fat, and 55 grams of protein. So in this whole meal, this is my daily intake of fats and almost my daily intake of calories. Whereas over here we have 420 calories, 33 grams of carbs, 19 grams of fat, and 31 grams of protein. So doesn't look that big. The meal does not look that big at all, but it is almost my daily intake of calories, which is not ideal. So I'm going to stick with this meal over here. Blueberries, fantastic. First thing in the morning, obviously you want to get your fruit in, etc. And obviously 10 calorie jellies, good. Bit of appetite suppressant if you are a little bit hungry, you want to eat something. Eat one of these, and they're actually only 4 calories. So I don't exactly understand why they're branded 10 calorie jelly when they're actually only 4 calories. So yeah. Let's eat. Is it nice?
Lovely. Really nice, thank
I
you.
bet. I'd absolutely destroy that at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you noticed, but this morning when I was cooking my eggs, I had 1 calorie spray, which is fantastic. If you are dieting, definitely use this. Whereas David had olive oil, and I mean he had a lot of this stuff. So olive oil is fantastic to get your essential fatty acids in. However, everything in moderation. And I mean, he had a lot of this stuff. So what he had this morning of olive oil equated to 25 grams of fat. So I'd highly recommend you guys to switch to this if you are dieting. Olive oil is good, but too much of it is really bad. Meal number 2 incoming. Hi, can I have a Big Mac meal, please?
Yeah, is that large?
Regular, please.
What drink would you like that?
Vanilla milkshake, please.
Anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Next one when you come, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hiya. Thanks very much. Cool, thank you. Cheers. Food has been acquired. Okay, meal number 2 of the day is served. So over here we have 1 Big Mac, 1 medium fries, and a vanilla milkshake. And then over here, my meal, we have 4 hex sausages, tender stem broccoli, and we've got ourselves a decaf coffee. Okay, so to compare the 2 meals, so this is kind of like a standard Big Mac medium meal. And this is my 200 calorie meal. So this is 4 hex sausages. Hex sausages are chicken sausages, they're amazing. And what I want you to take note of is that I have a lot of volume, so I have a lot of veg here. When you are dieting, when your calories are very low, you want to be having a lot of veg to really try and fill you up, even as you are not eating much food. And I also have a decaf coffee, which is another kind of like appetite suppressant. So 0 calorie drinks are also really, really good. Vanilla milkshakes are not good. This is not ideal. So to compare the 2 calorie wise, 198 calories, 3.2 grams of carbs, 3.6 gram of fat, and 38.8 grams of protein. So very low carb meal. This is pretty much 0 carbs. And on our left here we have 1,477 calories, 190 grams of carbs, 63 grams of fat, and 42 grams of protein. So obviously not ideal at all. So milkshakes are really, really not good. These are very, very high in sugar. Would not advise you having this. A burger, a Big Mac, is very, very high in saturated fats. A lot of sodium, like ridiculous amount of sodium. And obviously fries are just not ideal, high in saturated fat as well. So yeah, this is my meal, meal number 2 of the day. I usually space the meals out probably about 2 to 3 hours. The time is currently 2 o'clock, so it's been 2.5 hours since our meal number 1. And in that way I can kind of get an even amount of protein throughout the day, probably across about 5 meals or so. So yeah. Mum, do you want this? She's been waiting for me to ask her if she wants it. Just a little bit. Meal number 3 is coming at 5:10 in the afternoon. We're going to be having 4 whole eggs and 200 millilitres of liquid egg whites. We're going to be throwing in some onions with that as well, and then have like a little side portion of broccoli because we need our health. So yeah. And with this, when the omelette is cooking, you want to put a lid on top to make sure the top of the eggs are cooking. Okay, so meal number 3 is served. To my right is my meal for the day. So this is kind of like, I'd probably class this as a bit of like a snack. So this is still fairly low calories, nice high volume, lots of veg. To my left is probably some snacks that you may have throughout the day. So maybe if you're at work, you want to treat yourself to a Whisper bar, maybe a couple cookies if you're in a rush, maybe some crisps if you're watching a film at night and you want to just sit down and enjoy some crisps, or maybe it's a really nice hot day and you want to have like a Magnum or something. These foods are not ideal for dieting whatsoever. I highly advise you guys to avoid all this kind of stuff if you are dieting. Crisps, like in a packet of this is like 600 calories alone, which is a third of my daily intake. So to my right, calorie wise, we have 362 calories, 3 grams of carbs, so once again, pretty much no carb meal. We've got 19 grams of fat and 48 grams of protein. To my left, however, if we have all these cookies, this Whisper bar, a whole packet of crisps, and just 1 Magnum bar, you're gonna be shocked at this. This is 2,164 calories, 271 grams of carbs, 107 grams of fat and 24 grams of protein. So this may not look like a lot of food. You maybe go for one of these in the evening quite easily, but it all adds up very, very easily. And I highly advise you guys to avoid these kind of foods, especially things like chocolate and crisps and cookies. Ice cream you can maybe get away with from time to time, but at the end of the day, these foods are not going to fill you up. They're not going to make you feel fulfilled. This kind of stuff, high volume, big plates of food, this is what's going to fill you up. This isn't. So yeah, fantastic stuff. Let's eat. I'm not gonna lie, it's been tough today making all this food, buying this food and not being able to eat it, but no, this is going in the cupboard for someone else. Whisper, I'll see you in a few weeks. Pull yourself together, Tom, come on. Okay then. Okay, so I'm currently out getting my steps in, walking to the Domino's to grab my pizza. Well, not my pizza, your pizza. And I wanted to state 2 important things for dieting. First one being drinking plenty of water, staying hydrated. So for me, I literally drink 2 gallons of water a day, which sounds like a lot. It probably sounds a little bit too much for you guys, but for me, I'm very, very active. My expenditure is very high. I sweat a lot in my job. I mean, I'm a labourer for a landscape gardening company. I sweat a lot when I'm doing cardio. I sweat a lot in the gym. So 2 gallons of water is enough for me. And I like drinking water to kind of suppress my appetite a little bit. It makes me less hungry. And literally when I'm walking around, I will just sip on a bottle. So key thing is to kind of carry around a big bottle to make sure you're getting your water in and staying hydrated for the day. Important thing number 2 is going to be keeping your activity levels high. So doing your 10,000 steps a day, every day, not just the one-off day. Doing your cardio, so I'm currently doing cardio 4 times a week. So days like today where my calories are very, very low, I could very easily just sit around, watch TV all day, kind of just lounge around all day around the house, but no, I've been doing it every single day for the past 11 weeks. So I don't know why I'd stop doing it now. So 2 important things there: stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, and also keep your activity levels nice and high by doing cardio, steps, etc. Let's get a Domino's. Okay, so Domino's pizza has been acquired to showcase the food that you should avoid. However, I'm currently holding this. Oh my. The worst thing about it is that Domino's pizza is so unbelievably good, like tastes so good, but it's just so bad for you and just not ideal for dieting. Like this in here is my daily intake for today. But I'm getting to that stage in my diet where I'd absolutely smash one of these. Oh, I can't even bring myself to open it because I'm scared. I'm scared it's gonna look too good. Oh, let's get over. Okay, and now to the main event and the meal that I probably look forward to every single rest day. I absolutely love salmon. So we've got 2 salmon fillets here. Got 2 salmon fillets here, 50 grams of basmati rice, and once again we've got tender stem broccoli. To my right, this is my meal. I think this is 650 calories, 39 grams of carbs, 28 grams of fat, and 61 grams of protein. So this is probably my favorite meal at the moment. To my left, we have a Domino's pizza. So this is a medium Meteor, I believe. And this, ladies and gents, is 1,864 calories, 197 grams of carbs, 81 grams of fat, and 84 grams of protein. So this right here is not ideal. Yes, it smells amazing. Yes, it tastes amazing. But I highly advise you guys not to kind of go anywhere near these kind of foods when you are dieting, because this will probably wipe your calories out completely for the day. And I can guarantee you that it probably won't fill you up either, and it will just make you crave food even more. So stay away from this kind of food. Stick to your essential fatty acids like your salmon, your carbohydrates through your rice, and then obviously plenty of volume through your veg. And that is a perfect meal. And my meal number 5 and my final meal of the day is going to be 40 grams of oats with 20 grams of iso whey protein. We're also going to put a couple of blueberries on top, so not too many. So oats are fantastic to finish the day because they're slow digesting carbs, meaning that you can feel quite full. They're very high in volume for what they actually are. So this is only like 35 grams of carbs, and this will really fill me up, which is fantastic and exactly what you want before going to bed. So I usually have my final meal probably about 2 to 3 hours before going to bed to allow it to digest, and meaning that it's not going to affect with my sleep, so I don't have any problems falling asleep. I'm going to compare that with some beers, but first let's make the oats. And that, ladies and gents, concludes my full day of eating, leaving me pretty much on the money, like literally perfect for the day. So we finished the day with 1,857 calories, 103 grams of carbs, so 3 grams of carb over, 73 grams of fat, so 2 fats under, and 200 on the dot grams of protein. So fantastic day, very successful day of eating. And you guys are going to finish the day with 2 big Peronis, which I think both of these are like 450 calories and like 30 grams of carb, which is more calories than there is in this bowl of oats. So think about that. Maybe if you're out drinking whilst you're dieting, you can maybe save that, have a bowl of oats that are going to fill you up, and you'll feel probably more fulfilled than having a beer. So the cheat day macros concludes at a whopping 7,172 calories, 768 grams of carbs, 328 grams of fat, and 205 grams of protein. So that whole day of food that I've showed you, that whole cheat day, has the same amount of protein as I've eaten for the day, and almost like 5, 6, 7 times the fat and carbs for the day, which is absolutely ridiculous. So obviously the foods that I've showed you, I highly recommend you guys avoiding them kind of foods whilst you're dieting. I'll speak about it more in the morning after I've got a good night's sleep. So yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. And good morning, it is the following morning. I've woken up this morning with a brand new low weigh-in, which is fantastic. So the couple of things that I want you guys to take away from this video is obviously to showcase you what foods you should avoid, and how kind of small meals have such high calories and that are just not ideal to eat whilst dieting. So one thing I want you guys to note is to be smart with your calories, eat foods that are going to fill you up. So note that I had plenty of eggs to get my fatty acids in, and also it's quite a big portion if you have quite a few eggs. Have lots of volume, so have lots of veg to really fill you up. More mouthfuls, tricking your brain into thinking you are eating more food, especially when you're on really low calories like I am at the moment. And finally, just play around with it. Find what foods work best for you. Find what works best with your macros, what fills you up, what doesn't fill you up, what gives you most energy, etc. But for me, I've been doing this for 11 weeks now, so I've been eating pretty much the same thing for about 11 weeks. Obviously, I haven't been this low on calories for 11 weeks. I've only literally just dropped this low But I have tested the water. I've seen what foods work best for me, what times work best. Obviously fasting in the morning, etc. with the coffee, having your 0-calorie drinks, being active, keeping your mind away from food. There's loads of little tricks and tips to kind of get around eating such low calories, but I do highly advise you guys to avoid all of the food that I showed you today, especially whilst dieting, because you'll realise that just a little packet of crisps is probably going to take up quite a lot of your fat for the day, and you don't want to be wasting your fat on a packet of crisps when you could be having an egg or some salmon, etc. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Obviously it's slightly different to the normal vlog, but I thought I'd kind of change it up, try something out for once. If you got to this point in the video, comment tape down below, that'd be much appreciated. Make sure you smash the button, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you next time. Peace.
Subscribe to Thomas Roundtree, legend.